So, guys, we're live on YouTube. Just want to thank you guys for making it happen. And at this point, we want to officially welcome Chidubem. He's the African lead for the Graph, and he has showed really great support for our communities. And then we see how we could do so many great works in 2024. So, guys, you have an opportunity to meet first class mentors. So, I just want you guys to take this relationship serious. Follow them up. All the material has been shared. Let's take time to this holiday is not a time for us to play around, but it's time for us to plan our year strategically into 2024. You guys are our ambassadors, and then we want to see a lot of the Ethereum community, the Graph community, the Hub community, the Falcon community scaling up. So who else do we call but you guys? So Snatchy, I can see you guys. Toluwas, I can see you. Chimapa, I can see you, and Chibude, I can see you. Konko, I can see you, and many of you guys joining. So our friends on YouTube, you're welcome, and over to you, boss.
Yes, thank you, Enoch. It's an honor to be here. Um, yes, my name is Chidubem Okeke. I am the community manager for the Graph Foundation for Africa, and I think it's a privilege to share um, about the Graph and how the Graph makes Web3 data easily accessible. When building your dApp. Let me see if I can share my screen. Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, sure, we can see it.
Yes,
Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, so basically the 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 graph makes accessing the world's blockchain data easy and it's very revolutionary. I think when I discovered the graph, um, me, I just went down that rabbit hole and I never back. And in the ecosystem, and it's a lot of people may not know, but a lot of Web3 dApps out there are actually powered by soft graphs, by the graph. And in different verticals, we have the DeFi's, we have for NFTs, we have for gaming, we have over 1 trillion queries that have been served on the Graphs network and hosted service. We have over 45K projects, and tens of thousands of devs, they usually rely on the graph to create, best in class user experiences. And I want to, for me, I like to tailor my presentations, unless I'm doing like a live workshop or maybe quick workshop. I like to tailor my presentations to fit both maybe technical and non-technical audience because of my background. So that everyone is going to be able to, you know, follow through. So there are some things I might talk about that everyone's already familiar with, but then there might just be that 1% or that 5% that might not be familiar with it, and it's an opportunity for the person to learn as well. Um, so basics of the blockchain, it's distributed data storage that is secure by cryptography, right? It's just basically like a ledger, um, and people running nodes like in different parts of the world, and storing data, right? And it's a very, very, very interesting technology, right? And that is very promising, and I see it evolving to a point where a lot of organizations will start adopting this technology because of the many benefits that it has. And as this adoption increases, they would need the organizations will always need data, for decision making, for so many different things. Data is very, very important, and the graph is playing a very crucial role in providing that. Um, So a smart contract based off of the previous based off of the previous Jesse's presentation, yes. I'm assuming everyone here knows what a smart contract is, but then if there's just one person that doesn't know, it's basically data and logic, on how to change what is stored on the blockchain, right? And if we look at the data storage of an NFT contract, for instance, the smart contract, they usually don't store like so much data. They usually just store the state of the data and the state of the variable data at that point, right? So you look at data storage of an NFT contract. For instance, you can see the owner, the address, and then you can see the URI. This is for CryptoPunks, for example. And um, still going back to blockchain again. In addition to holding the current state of data, it also defines the rules for changing the data. So if, for instance, I'm holding one CryptoPunks NFT, maybe 1001, and I'm sending it to someone else, right? The smart contract stores the state that it changes to. So it doesn't hold on to the previous states of the NFC before. It doesn't hold on to the previous state. It only holds on to the current states at the time. Basically, and how does that happen is, it just writing a transaction. It's basically maybe calling a function, a user calling a function or something like that, um, either from the front end or elsewhere. Now, the issue now there is, provenance, historical data, right? Because since the smart contract only stores the current states of the data at that time, what about history? How do you get data from other blocks, right? Because the blocks keep increasing every day, and in millions, and there are always transactions going on every second, thousands of transactions going on every. Uh, I don't know where I got off, but I'm back now. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can hear you.
Yes. I would need to resume sharing my screen again. My screen sharing. Hmm. Okay. I think it's sharing now. Yes. So I'm guessing you guys can see my screen now. Can anyone answer?
Yeah,
Can you guys
yes, you
screen?
can see your screen. I can't hear you clearly.
Thank you. Yeah, so what about historical data? Because it's data that drives decision making, and it's very, very important. So it's the same thing, maybe the NFC is changing from one to another, and like that, from one person to another person to another person, while the smart contracts only holds just the current state of the NFC at the time. So another problem with the data on the blockchain, right, is that I am not sure why my I don't know if it's me. To share my screen again. Um, hold on. Yes, okay. So my screen is back. Yeah, so the blockchain is right optimized, which is why we would have several people running nodes around the world because I mean when you're running nodes is incentivized. So to write transactions to the blockchain, there's incentive, but then retrieving this data from the blockchain, there is really no incentive per se. So people are much more focused on, maybe running nodes than doing other things because there's some form of incentive. Uh, and that's the issue as well with the blockchain because as transactions are going into each block, right? It doesn't differentiate between the projects, which it just keeps going one on top of the other. So it's all clustered and messy, right? And which is also another problem. And if these organizations are trying to retrieve this data from the blockchain, you know, it's going to be very challenging, right? Usually, this is just a function to, I mean, it's a very complex function to get something very simple, right? Just a few details that you would want from a token, maybe the owner and things like that, the ID, that's all. And you have to write this complex function. And then it takes so much time as well to load previously, right? If you're trying to do it this way. So is where the graph comes in, right? Sorry, this is where the graph comes in. So is a decentralized indexing network protocol, right? And the mission is full stack decentralization of Web3, right? Meaning, it makes it decentralizes the API and query layer of, for dApps, and it makes it possible for them to efficiently query this blockchain data, without relying on a centralized service provider. And there are several benefits to it because there's resilience, to business shutdowns or failures because there's no sync control, by a single entity. They are all operating on a decentralized network, with 99% uptime, right? Because there are different network participants, which we'll get into. Um, and another benefit is, seamlessly interacting and exchanging data across several platforms or networks, meaning you can actually deploy one subgraph to track uh, multiple smart contracts on different blockchains, right? So you can use one subgraph to track data from one blockchain, to pull data from another blockchain, to pull data from the third one, and display all of them in just one UI, right? Which is also very, very useful. Of course, there's the immutability and transparency, which makes it very difficult for data to be changed once they have been written to the blockchain, right? And then so this is how this is like, right? There's the UI on top of it, and then we have the protocol, we have the API, which is the subgraph, and then we have the smart contracts, and we have the blockchains. Now there are different network participants of the graphs network that make it decentralized, right? They are all working together and they are all incentivized, which is what makes the graph itself decentralized. So because it's decentralized, it's also decentralizing dApps as well, like full stack from the beginning to the end. Because there are several projects that actually do use blockchain technology and can spin up their own graph nodes, but still use decentralized server, subgraphs, decentralized that layer of having to own one centralized back end or database. So basically a subgraph is logic or mappings, or it's just a piece of code that clearly defines the exact kind of data that you want to be stored and retrieved later, right? So uh, would use examples moving forward so it to make more sense, right? So, but basically, it's just a piece of code that defines the kind of data that you want to be stored for your dApp. So, for every time an event is emitted for that transaction, it's stored. It goes straight into the database. For every time an event is emitted, it goes straight into the database, just like that. And that's what the subgraph does. It tracks events, right? Um, Going back here. So now, when you're using subgraphs, right, and you're able to track exactly what you want from these clustered, blocks and blocks of data, right? This is what you get, right? Each project is able to get exactly what they want from the blockchain very easily, and they don't need to do it with a, centralized server or a centralized backend, really. And is you can now query it using GraphQL, right? If you look at the previous function that was very complex, and they are both trying to get the same thing, but this is much shorter, much easier, and it takes like 100 to 300 milliseconds to get the query back, or the answer to your query, as opposed to the previous one that takes seconds. So it reminds me of when I used to go to uh what do you call those things that, yeah, all those public places where internet cafes where you load and then it's so slow to load, things like that. So a modern dApp architecture should be like this, right? There's the user interface, and then there's the indexing protocol, which is where the graph sits, right? So it's storing blockchain data, right? So that is easily queried whenever it's needed. So it sits in between the blockchain and the user interface. And if we look at it from this level, right, you can see the dApp at the top, right? And going down, there's a transaction that occurs, and that transaction that occurs in the smart contract emits an event, and that event, goes into the graph node. And from the graph node, it goes into the mapping, and is the WASM model, and then it's stored, right? So once it's stored, is indexed by multiple indexers. This is what makes it decentralized, right? And when the user, the front end user now wants to use the dApp, for instance, and is querying from the other end, using an open endpoints API, a GraphQL API, it still goes to the graph node and it pulls out the query from from the store, and it goes back to the dApp, which is very easy and very fast. And if in some sense, if you look at it, I mean, it looks so cool when you look at it like this. Everything is so clustered, but when you use a subgraph, it's arranged and it's sorted out in a very, very neat manner. The question will now be, so how does the graph, manage to do this while remaining decentralized, right? So these are the different like network participants that work together to ensure that the graph remains decentralized. It could even be a middleware or an end user. Um, then there's the indexer, which are the ones that actually run the nodes that store and index the blockchain data. Then we have the curators and we have the delegators, right? So we have the indexers, they store and index the blockchain data, right? The curators now are those that actually identify subgraphs that are high quality and actually useful, in a sense. And then they signal on these subgraphs. Now, signaling really means like staking on it to say, oh, this subgraph is of it's right. And when a curator does stake on that, like signals on that subgraph, um, whatever query, the curator earns a portion of the query fee that the indexers gets for serving those queries to the consumers. Then we have the delegators, And the delegators are, very passive. They are like what we call people that stake in other networks. So basically, delegators they secure the network by staking to these indexers, right? Because the more amount of GRT, which is the graphs native token that these indexers have, the more number of the better equipped they are to serve more queries, and more queries actually means more query fees, so delegators just, stake to indexers and then any portion of those indexers rewards as well. Now we're now going to go in like something more practical now, like a use case that makes it easier to understand, which is when you now want to query this decentralized network. I would want to use this example, CryptoPunks by uh, Lava Labs, because I did like a documentation for this CryptoPunks, a subgraph that my friend builds. So I'm very familiar with it. So basically an 10,000 NFTs, very popular. People have them. And if you're looking at this CryptoPunks from the front end now, all these overall stats that you can see, like the value of sales, top pump owners, all pump types and attributes. You can see larger deals. You can see all of this. These things are things that can be powered by subgraphs. Right? These are what subgraphs can give to you. And use them and you display them on your front end, right? And maybe let me use an example, for instance, an example query. Say, for instance, I want to get pong data, right? I want to get the pong data, and this is GraphQL for this is actually GraphQL. So I'm looking for pongs where the ID is actually 1,000. So I'm looking for a specific pong that the ID is 1,000, and it's assigned to this, and number of transfers, number of sales, number of events. Uh, let me I'll just copy this here. I'll go to, um, let's go to playground, uh, products, graphic explorer. Uh, I think my network is a bit confused. Um, but I want to also open either scan as well, and also search for CryptoPunks.
How many you want to say?
Okay, so this has finished loading. So right now I'm on the Graphs Explorer, right? The decentralized network. We'll go back to it so that you guys can also see different projects that are actually using subgraphs to power their dApps. But for the sake of this, I just want to do an example. So I think um, uh, my internet is really lagging. Yeah, but then from this end, right? If we're going to either scan, um look at this transaction now, for instance, and it's a transfer from this person to this person. And if you go into the transaction hash, uh, let's go to the logs. You can see the address. It's 240, yes, 241. So this is the most recent transaction. You can see the address. You can see it's a transfer from this person's address to this person's address.
Uh,
Yeah, man, let's go back here. Uh, yeah. Okay.
I can't hear you. Can anybody hear you?
Can you hear me?
Okay, fine. Yes, we can.
Where was the last place? Because I've been talking for a while. I'm not sure you can hear me. What's the last thing? What's the last place you guys missed me? I think I stopped here. Do you guys remember what I said here?
Please, you can just
Can you
go
hear
over
me?
it.
Okay,
Yeah, we can.
okay. So let me just go over it again, right? So basically, I went into Etherscan, I went to the logs, to the most recent transaction, right? And you can look at the transfer of the NF1 and ERC 72 again from one address, which is this person to this person, and then this is the amount that the person pays for it. I'm saying that these are the kind of details that a soft graph, right, and display on the front end like this, where you'll be seeing like the barostats, top rank owners, all these things are things out by soft graphs, right? And if we're going to try to query an example query now will be we're looking for a specific CryptoPunk that the ID is 1000 and want to know who the owner is and the state of the pump itself, the number of transfers, the number of sales, events, current asks, bids. So these are different things now that we want to find out about this specific punk, right? And then you can see that it's pulling out the data here now, right? You can see this is the current owner. Uh, this is the person's ID. Uh, these are details of that NFC. And if you want to confirm, right, we can also go to the CryptoPunks. Uh, let's go here, right, and type for let's look for 1000. Mhm. Okay, it's really fast at this time. So 1000, right? Uh, you can look at the transaction history um, from this to this, from this to that. And if you actually go to the playground and you see the transaction history, you see that everything actually does match, right? So subgraphs power your dApp, right? In a way that's you don't have to build any expensive infrastructure for your back end or to try to store blockchain data. What you need to do is just build a subgraph to track the specific kind of data that you want for your dApp, and then you can use maybe a client to display it on your front end. There are different clients that you can use to display it on your front end. And we have the graph clients, which is the graph itself. And we also have Apollo. We have other ones. I'll drop them in the comments in the chats. I think I have the links. So they are all on the docs. You'll find them on the docs. But let me put them here. Yes. So that's one query. Try to get one query. Okay, so we want to now find out, okay, maybe how many times people have asked for a specific punk, which is 365, right? And then we want to know the block number, want to know the timestamp, want to know, you know, how the amount saved that people even like. There are different things that you would want to find out regarding a punk or regarding an owner. And we just go to the playgrounds and test the queries. Okay, so um, so all these data is what subgraph to power your front end. What it does. Services. They're also adding new query languages. I think I'll drop the link to this so that you can go more in depth to all of these. And like one of the new query languages that was added, the announcement was made just yesterday that you can now use Python to also query a subgraph. So it's not just GraphQL now that you can use to query a subgraph. You can also use Python as well, of which there'll probably be other languages that will be added, as well as time goes on. So more chain integrations, the streamlined billing. For instance, and even when people are, using query, paying for queries, I think that they recently did one this year. It's called Banksa. So you can just offer up right with your card, just make payments straight, for your queries like that. So there are different upgrades that are going to be made over time. And I think there's also a lot of room for subgraph developers, right? There's a lot of opportunity in this, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity there if you want to go down that career path, um, because actually the graph is looking for subgraph developers. So if you want to go down that career path, um, I mean, you can always reach out. The first place I would point you to is the Graph Africa. This is our Twitter. You join the Telegram. We usually host like workshops on subgraph developments. Teach people how to build subgraphs, um, or substreams. Because the tech is actually really evolving to the point where um it can actually rival and offer better services than Web2 tech. So a lot of projects are going to be, transitioning, and as they are transitioning, there'll be a huge demand for, subgraph devs, softstream devs, and of course they'll be incentivized for actually doing these things. And one of these initiatives, there's what we call the Graph Builders DAO. I'm also a member of the Graph Builders DAO. And on the Graph Builders DAO is just strictly for devs, right? Projects usually come there and put bounties. Oh, we need you to build the subgraph for us. This and this and this is what we need. And then they put it up there as a bounty. And if you're a DAO member there, you can just jump on the task. You take on the bounty. You build the subgraph. You take on the bounty. And you're good, right? So yeah, in a nutshell, this is what it is. Uh, I I would say I'm hoping that maybe in our next session, or if we could meet in person, as Enoch mentioned, we were planning like a lot of things for 2024, and if we could meet in person, then we could actually do like a live coding, like actually building a subgraph from scratch and actually deploying it and actually querying it, just to get a feel of what it's like. But on your own, you could still just jump if you could still go into the docs and jump on it. If you are inclined. So yes, I think that's the end of my own session. Thank you again. And I'm open to answer any questions that anyone has to ask.
Well, yeah. So guys, you've had it all. Thanks so much, Domain, for this. Yes, let's look at the question from Muslanji. So with the example you use, the querying of subgraph, it's more easy to do investigation on an account. Okay, that's one. So someone who queried the subgraph, is there a professional name for such person? All right, could you just do justice to this thing?
Yes, so with the example I used in querying the subgraph, yes, actually it's easy to do investigation on a specific account. So you can actually let me see. Let's just to share my screen. Okay, let's go to this owner. For instance, this is a specific account, for instance. We want to know this guy wants to know how many NFT he owns, like the bids, asks. We want to know everything about this particular guy, right? Which is somewhat what you're asking. And I'll go to the playground and get that. And you can see this is the accounts. This is how many NFTs the person owns. The guy owns a lot, actually. Okay, and he has also tried asking for several times. He has made several bids. He has made several sales as well. So you could actually investigate a specific account or a specific transaction if you want to with a subgraph. Like that's the beauty of it. It's very um what's the word to use? It's composable. I think composable is the word to use. But it's very is you can use it's very very detail oriented. Yes, I think that's what I would like to say. Um, so what's the second question? Is that another question? Uh, so
Yeah,
someone who
yeah,
queries the subgraph, is there a professional name for such person? No. It's a consumer, right? And the consumer could either be an end user or a middleware. I mean, me now, I can be an end user and I just want specific details on something from a project, and I just go straight into the Graph Explorer. Thankfully, I'm still sharing my screen. I go straight in the Graph Explorer. Uh, you can see the different projects right now that are being powered by subgraphs, right? Live here, we have snapshots, we have requests, finance, we have We have so many, and this is just the decentralized network, right? Where there's still some on the hosted service that we are still migrating to the decentralized network, right? Swap, Alchemy, Anchor, Compound V2, ENS, Enzyme Finance. All these are being powered by subgraphs. Um, they all use subgraphs. So as the graph is entering this new phase, we are also going to be like moving them over from the hosted service to the decentralized network because the hosted service is actually centralized, right? And we're moving them over to the decentralized network so that it's completely completely decentralized to the point where the protocol is functioning on its own and every network participant is getting incentivized, right? And then the project are also paying for queries, and is I think so. I think the graph is playing a very, very crucial role in Web3, and it launched in 2018. Uh, but started with the hosted service initially, and then I mean we just celebrated our third year for the decentralized network on Sunday. Enoch was in attendance, and I'm sure he had a great time. So I would stop sharing my screen here, and I'm still open for any more questions if anyone has any.
Right, let's check the YouTube for questions. So guys, uh, do we have any questions online? Our friends on YouTube. Right, I will wait for any questions. This to debate. Yes. What advice will you give to especially the cohort right now, because we're currently running a boot camp, hopefully to wrap up in first or second week of 2024 in January. So what would you advise them this period of holidays? Thank you.
Sorry, my internet connection is unstable. What I heard is, what would you advise?
Yeah, the current cohort in this period of holidays as regards
Okay,
to the graph.
okay. As regards to the graph, I would I mean if we're doing like an in-person event that is a boot camp where everyone is actually building like a dApp and they are going to actually integrate the graph to their graph, to power their dApp. The opportunities for bounties, uh, we have different bounty categories: best news of graph, best use cases, and there are, prizes attached to these um, bounties, I guess. So if I would say jump into the docs and try to get familiar. I would also say, join the Graph Africa's community because we also hold sessions there on subgraph development. So you get you're better equipped as well. And I would also say it's a very good career path. It's a very good, very, very good career path because uh I would say right now the demand is very high and the supply is really low. So there's a huge opportunity there. But yeah, so I would say these three, you know, join the Graphs Africa community, going to the dogs, trying things out, participating in these workshops that we hold, we hold monthly. You would get to know how to build subgraphs, and then from there, probably transition into being an advocate or just go straight to the builder's DAO or both if you want. Because I mean, there's nothing wrong with this because I'm a member of the Graph Advocates DAO. I'm also a member of the Graph Builders DAO, and then I'm also the community manager for Africa. So there's a lot of room everywhere, a lot of room everywhere. So yes, I mean that's what I would advise.
Okay, guys, it's been an engaging hour moment with Jesse and Chidubem. Let me give it to Chidubem right now. I think he's gonna be our Santa Claus for this hour. Um, I guess there are some good questions for some of us. Even me, I'm also, I need to get some gift from him as well. So let's put it up to
Yes,
him.
yes. So, so what I'll do, yeah, I think everyone on this call, I would assume that everyone on this call is on that WhatsApp group, right? So I will drop the questions there, and there'll be a very, very, very limited time frame. I'll put, I'll, I'll clearly define the rules. Yeah, not of course not everyone. Only the participants of this call. It's not everyone. There are 12 people I can see here. So only the participants of this call that are entitled to any of the prizes or the giveaways. So I would clearly define the um questions, and then there'll be a time frame, and then the people that answer it will obviously get rewarded. You're not on the group. I don't know, maybe can set something up for the people that are not in the group here.
All right, all right. I'm not among. Okay, my gift is donated. So, all right. Someone has bullied me out. All right, no problem, boss. So the chat group is on. So please, I kind of like regulating that chat group. So for you guys to just join and then
Okay.
to join. All right.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Am I sharing the right link? Twitter, can you just please help me out? Sure.
Okay, let me confirm it.
The right group should be the graph. Yeah, should be like the announcement. The right group should be there. Make a share again, not working. Um, but I think I've sent the graph. Check this. I think that should be the right channel. Okay, that's fine. So, all right. For the next 2 minutes, we should be wrapping up this. Um, is there any other thing? Let's see while we wait for any other stuffs. We'll be sending out a survey to the cohort for some of you here. All right. And then, yes, we've heard from the BAME and Jess. Yeah, we've created a group, like a part of the group on the Telegram group. So you don't lost this. We've posted the documentations and other information there. So we'll be continuing the conversation on Telegram and as well on the WhatsApp as well. So it's a holiday period. So we just want us to be every one of us to just be productive this period. A whole lot to happen in 2024. You heard from the space we had on Thursday. So you guys need to like be strategic, position yourself. You heard from the African leads about opportunities on the graph. So as I said, all these ecosystem protocols we're bringing in. So it's just for you guys to like, you know, just get hands on, get to know your stuff, and then opportunity comes in, you take it up with just a few recommendations, you stand a chance to like, scale up high. So yes, I can join the group. Oh, okay. I think we will sort it out. What else again? Thank you so much for everyone who has make out time and our friends on YouTube as well. Please let's retweet this, share this with as many who are not here, and let's grow up the community together. Let's over to you to wrap up.
Yes, it has been a very, very engaging and, of course, educative session. I mean, I've learned a lot, and I'm sure every one of us also have learned a lot. We've heard it all from our lead. Please continue on the Telegram group. Of course, if you have questions, if you have while you're on holiday and of course you bump into something on the blockchain, of course, and you don't understand, you have a community you can always reach out to and will guide you and of course will educate you on blockchain and all the concepts on the blockchain. Thank you once again, our speakers, of course, Jesse and Chidubem. We appreciate your wealth of knowledge. And for me, I've really learned a lot. And as a developer also, I can see the many advantages of the graph and subgraph because querying the blockchain makes it very easy. And of course, I'm so happy to be part of this course. So thank you, everyone, guys. Of course, do well to fill out our survey. You also have it in the emails also, just in case. So please remember the email is our primary means of communication. So even while you're on holiday, try to always check your mail and respond to your mail also. So thank you everyone. Thank you guys.